Offer extended. Offer not accepted. This is Nelson with Nelson Radio, and you're challenged by today's rush to real estate, all combined with a concern that by the time you find your dream home, higher rates will price you out of the market. I've got the answer. With my Mortgage Market exclusive lock and shop rate guarantee, you can freeze today's low interest rates, shop for your new home, all with a peace of mind that your rate is waiting for you at the finish line. Call or click 888-888-2136 or click through on strongcreditrewards.com.
This is Be a Beast on Nelson Radio. You chose to be here. This is not by accident that you're here now and in this program. You want to take your performance to the highest level. You want to dominate. You physically work hard. Now that's important. Mentally, we're going to prepare you to have the kind of success that's available to you. Not just for some, but for you to live it fully. You can do it too. Enjoy this journey. This program is your secret weapon. Be a Beast on Nelson Radio.
And this is Be a Beast on Nelson Radio with Dave Austin, mental performance coach, and myself, business leader and professional coach. Want you reaching out to us? Call us direct, 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or go to extremefocus.com, or simpler yet, all you need to do is text the word BEAST to 313131. Dave, we're coaching performance from the locker room to the boardroom, but it really goes beyond that. We're talking about coaching in life, in any situation where you need to mentally perform.
You know, it is. I mean, living life when you know and get your brain to work for you rather than against you. Most of us, we have it working against us because we just go into automatic behavior habits rather than taking that moment and actually being very present right now and then making clear decisions. Life changes dramatically just with that easy concept right there.
I have to ask you to share the story or some of the stories of your dad, your pops, an Army chaplain, or he wasn't in the Army.
Navy,
what branch?
Navy chaplain.
Navy chaplain. And you shared with me last week a story that was just riveting about Iwo Jima.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, at Iwo Jima, which we now know, with that flag is a symbol of our freedom. You see that flag everywhere. Those guys putting up the flag. Well, my dad was there, and when I heard this story from an admiral when my dad retired from the Navy, and both my brother and I looked at each other and said, we're lucky to be alive. We're lucky to be here after hearing the story, because he did it at Saipan also. But when they took the beaches at Iwo Jima, it comes in waves. The first wave, the bloodiest is in that first wave. Right. Second wave, third wave, and then they get around to the seventh wave, and that's when the admirals, the high-ranking officers, and the chaplains then come ashore. Well, when it came time to go ashore, the admiral's going, where's Chaplain Austin? Where's Chaplain Austin? We need to go to shore. And a sailor goes, well, sir, he left on the very first boat this morning. And that was my dad. My dad led the charge at Iwo Jima without a gun. Just a Bible in his hand, diving into the foxholes, giving what he called, he gave communion, but he had the 11th commandment. We've heard of 10. His 11th commandment, what is the 11th commandment? Stay loose and don't get shook. Very RESPA. We've talked in the show about crocodile RESPA, because first it's relaxed. That's a pretty tough time to relax.
Yeah, when you're in the foxhole, live fire going on overhead.
And so then when they finally, my dad buried a lot of Marines on that island. But the day that they put up the flag the first time, my dad was on his belly under the flag, giving communion as machine gun fire is going overhead, trying to keep everyone calm, keeping everyone there and present. And after they put up that flag, it was a while later that they thought, wow, this is a great concept. Let's put up another flag, but a bigger flag. Now the machine gun fire was done. They had taken the island. So they got these guys together. They took out the smaller flag and they put up the bigger flag. And my dad was a photo buff, so he was helping this young photographer take this shot that's now, part of our American history, part of our, showing our freedom.
One of the three statues out in front of the Capitol.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, it was amazing. And when we heard the story, I knew my dad was in Iwo Jima. I knew all that. I didn't know that he led the charge. I mean, that was like, and he ended up, the admiral said he did the same thing at Saipan. So, my brother said, Dad, why'd you do that? when you talk about stepping out there, and he said, because that's where I was needed most. That's his words. That's where I was needed most. I love God and I love my Marines. End of story. And both my brother and I kind of looked at each other, and I many times, it's the strength of those words that my dad gave me is a gift for me, because sometimes I'm afraid to do something. And it's more like, well, what will that person say if I do this? What will they think of me? Here, I'm worried about the scorn of another person's word when my dad would take on machine gun fire for what he believed.
In tremendous perspective in the context of we're making decisions with our performance coaching here that's on the gridiron or in the locker room or on the field of competition, in the boardroom, and then your dad having that most graphic experience. That's an unbelievable storyline. You're listening to Dave Austin and Nelson on Be a Beast on Nelson Radio. Give us a call direct, 888-888-2136. Dave, let me ask you, because when we're talking about that, life gets in the way kind of perspective. It's in any environment, and so few pay attention to the mental training about performance. They just focus on, okay, we got to go with what's tangible, which has shape and form, something I can see and feel, versus the mental side.
Well, the problem is most of us are just reacting. The situation happens and it just goes into reaction. And what happens in reaction? You're going to go to your deepest habits. And if you haven't developed proper habits down deep within you, you could act in total chaos. I got asked one time to go in, during the Middle East, really when it was at the height of it all. This was a few years ago. I got asked to come. A captain of a destroyer asked me. He met me on a plane, and we were talking, and he had just taken command of a destroyer. And he asked me, he said, "Will you come talk to my men before we go to the Middle East?" I mean, it's very crucial at that time. Things are really, in the heat of the battle. And so I went in. I had a chance to first speak to their officers. Then I spoke to their petty officers, and then I did the whole ship. And what we did within that, the training that took place, you're like, we hope you never have to, go to this point, because when a missile is coming in on a ship, you got about 3 seconds to react. So you better be completely prepared ahead of time, so you know exactly what you're doing. That missile's coming in, you don't have a lot of time to go into chaos.
Right.
And so it was just setting up processes that they do, and they do it brilliantly. I mean, what I did was just adding to it. This command officer had already been at Annapolis training this type of training, so he just loved what I had to add to it. And with the anchor systems we talk about, Be a Beast. It's just that trigger right now. We got seconds. This missile's coming in.
And this is the foundation when we have these references to the various animals. Respa the crocodile, Mima and Lima, the armadillos. People are asking the question, all right, hold on. I'm in the heat of the battle. Why am I thinking about an armadillo? Why am I thinking about a crocodile? It's for that mental trigger to snap you back into that instant focus to deal with what you're dealing with. That's the cornerstone of Be a Beast on Nelson Radio. I'm with Dave Austin, mental performance coach, myself, a business leader and professional coach. You can contact us direct, 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Click through at extremefocus.com or simply text the word BEAST to 313131. Roger Anthony's story. It's the epicenter of mental performance. Coming up next.
Be a Beast on Nelson Radio spends a lot of time vetting out true professionals. Insurance Inc. is one of our best. Cutting premiums up to 40%. Insurance Inc. We want you to contact them direct, 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136, or go to insuranceinc.com.
What can $50 do? With a donation of $50, you can impact the life of a child today in Bulgaria, the poorest nation in the European Union, with one of the highest percentages of human trafficking in Europe. Click and donate today to satesi.org, and your giving heart will make a huge difference in the life of a young Bulgarian boy or girl. That's CEITCI.org. Impact the world and care for Bulgarian children at risk with so little. Donate today at satesi.org. That's CEITCI.org.
This is Be a Beast on Nelson Radio. I'm with the mental performance coach, Dave Austin, and myself, a nearly 3-decade professional in business and a professional coach as well. You can reach out to us, 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136, or click through at extremefocus.com, or even easier, all you need to do is remember the word BEAST and text that to 313131, and we'll respond back and get to you immediately. Dave, yesterday's show was remarkable. And we had Roger Anthony and his learning anchor system, which is the foundation that we're building from in this Be a Beast training. And Roger discussed, I thought very candidly, his life situation where he's applying these principles.
Yeah, I mean, he's faced with cancer, and he's, he doesn't
Stage 4
back
prostate
down.
cancer.
Right. They're telling him, really Western medicine has said, it's too late. But for Roger, what does he do? It's opportunity.
And that's what he said and I was just dumbfounded when he was talking about, hey, I've got stage 4. The physicians have now told me I'm 2 to 5 years out to the finish line. And then almost in a very animated, excited way, he says, gosh, I was optimistic about the opportunity to show exactly what those subconscious foundation of optimism, positive thinking, direction, having a mission, a vision, and a plan that I'm executing now in my treatment, my response to stage 4, that's the cancer, as I understand it, is already emanated into his
skeleton, his bones. Yeah. I mean, this is what's so beautiful about it, like Roger Anthony. He doesn't just talk it, he walks it completely. That's, Enrock, the eagle he talks about. Mm-hmm. Integrity is the rock. He lives it so thoroughly that even in this case, life and death, he says, wow, what a great opportunity for me to even be more, share more, and be more, and absolutely be the miracle that you can be in your life.
And this is the thing, as we go into our regular lives, whether we're pursuing something on the athletic field, whether we're pursuing something in the boardroom or in the business field, it's about the pursuit and having that foundation of mental performance, the ability to perform in those most anxious moments, the moments where we're stressed and thinking, oh gosh, how am I going to do this? RESPA, relax, evaluate, strategize, patience, and then act, and all having that triggered in a nanosecond simply by the reference to RESPA the crocodile.
Exactly. That one trigger can just set it on course. We talked earlier in the show about the destroyer going to the Middle East. When an incoming missile is coming in, you have seconds, and it's life and death, your decisions you make in that moment.
You're listening to Nelson Radio and Be a Beast with Dave Austin, mental performance coach, and myself, Nelson. You can reach us direct, 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136, or simply text the word BEAST to 313131. Dave, as we broadcast, and we're surrounded by the military that's dealing with life and death at every turn. They've got family members, husbands, wives deployed in some of the most graphic scenes that, I don't have a military background, but I've been exposed to life. And I've seen some things, including my daughter's story, which is, for those of you that haven't heard my own testimony, but I lost my daughter at age 17. And as I was with my family in the emergency room, in watching the medical technicians and the physicians and the teams of the medical community fighting for my daughter's life, and we're surrounding her bedside. And here's a moment that has nothing to do about business, nothing to do about athletic prowess or trying to achieve or hoist the trophy. It's about dealing with life. And we unfortunately lost that, but we lost my daughter's life. But it came with the opportunity, like Roger was talking about. I have an opportunity to stand up as a husband, as a father, to lead my family, and having this mental kind of performance where, okay, one option is I can opt out. Hey, this is too much for me, and my life is destroyed along the way. It's destructive losing a family member, without question. But it's given me an opportunity, very much in the same way as Roger's looking at his cancer, of hold on. I've got a life to live. I've got a wife that I need to be a husband for. I've got my son who I need to be a father for. It's a real life situation where we need to mentally perform.
Well, Nelson, I didn't even know, when we first got to know each other and that, I did not know that story. I just saw you in your mission is powerful. And I just responded when I see someone who is very, as you say, they're focused, they're direct, they have a mission in life. And so what you're talking about, once I heard the story of your daughter, I was just so blown away by it because you had that choice. We talked about that decision moment. I can either just give up and throw in the towel because that's really challenging. I mean, very challenging. But you made a choice that you're going to turn it into marching forward in more strength, which is an honor to your daughter.
And this is one of the things, one of the convictions that was founded at that moment in the hospital room, my wife turning to me saying, I want my daughter's life to matter. And that's exactly what, on a go forward, part of my mission is. Haley's life to matter in terms of now going forward. What do you do when you've dealt with these kinds of life issues? And this is really a very graphic example, but it's life. And life gets in the way in so many different ways. Losing businesses, losing incomes, losing jobs, losing homes coming out of the Great Recession, and certainly for the military and all of us, mortality running at 100%. Life is very precious, and we need this kind of mental performance coaching. You can reach us direct, 888-888-2136. This is Be a Beast on Nelson Radio with Dave Austin, mental performance coach, and myself, Nelson. Reach out to us. We want to hear from you and hear your testimony on how you can mentally perform at a higher level. 888-888-2136. We've got another shattering story that we want to share. Stay with us.
What can $50 do? With a donation of $50, you can impact the life of a child today in Bulgaria, the poorest nation in the European Union, with one of the highest percentages of human trafficking in Europe. Click and donate today to satesi.org, and your giving heart will make a huge difference in the life of a young Bulgarian boy or girl. That's CEITCI.org. Impact the world and care for Bulgarian children at risk with so little. Donate today at satesi.org. That's CEITCI.org.
Be a Beast on Nelson Radio spends a lot of time vetting out true professionals. Insurance Inc. is one of our best. Cutting premiums up to 40%. Insurance Inc. We want you to contact them direct. 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or go to insuranceinc.com.
Friends with the monster, the son of my bed. When you think I'm crazy, yeah, you think I'm crazy. Well, that's not fair.
This is Be a Beast on Nelson Radio. I'm Nelson. Multi-year, I'm saying multi-year, Dave, because I've been around for a couple of 100 years. Business leader, professional coach, Dave Austin, mental performance coach. You can reach us direct, 888-888-2136, or text the word BEAST to 313131, or you can click through at extremefocus.com and find out more about our Be a Beast 12-step process, how it can help you train yourself mentally, how we can help you train mentally to deal with the most graphic things in life or in business or on the field of sports, but having that anchor of being able to perform mentally at an exceptional level at a time when you need to perform.
Yeah, well, we're this week's kind of theme we've gone into is going a little deeper. It's going very, very personal in both your life and my life. And it just shows that we talk about it can be used in everything. Now, obviously, I'm known mostly in NFL football, Major League Baseball, Olympic sports for what I do with those teams. But everything that we do in the locker room can be applied to every part of life. And as we talked about the last segment about your daughter and about my dad in the first segment, well, I've had my own personal whatever
challenges.
You want to get challenges.
Yeah.
My
life not being lived in a straight line. And I think that, with your permission, I'd love for you to share a story about your son, about Daniel.
I'm blessed to have 4 boys, but my last son, when he came into this world, he came in differently than my other 3 sons. And they gave him no chance of survival. It was medically impossible for him to live. In fact, I was back at the College World Series when I got the call from my wife and said, there's some problems out here. And I learned from the doctor that I was going to possibly lose my wife and I was losing my son. That was just, I'm like, you're kidding.
Foregone conclusion.
Yeah. So, I flew back on the next flight. I got there. I was a wreck,
Right.
But when I got there, my wife goes, Dave, this is going to be fine. This is going to be fine. And I'm like, wow, there was such strength in her that I had to respite. I gathered myself and went, yeah, this is going to be fine.
Or like the armadillos, Mima and Lima,
Right.
mind mastery over life mastery.
There were 9 specialists in the room. They pulled me out into the hallway and they said, look, your wife doesn't get it. She doesn't get it. This is really serious. I said, no, guys, you don't get it. And they rolled their eyes and they're going, because what we had said is that we can handle whatever it is. I mean, that was our surrender. We weren't surrendering to defeat. We were surrendering to knowing that we have a strength. We could get through this. And so when they brought Daniel out, he was not, not breathing. They were trying to do everything they could to try to get life into him. He was deep purple. He was very tiny. It was about 8 weeks before he was supposed to be born. He was in a coma. And I just went up. And I thought, do I do this? But I thought about my dad. He took on machine gun fire. I was nervous about this is going to look weird. Can you believe that? It's life or death.
Yeah.
But I put my hand on Daniel's leg and I said, Daniel, feel the power of my love. Feel the power of God's healing grace. And it was like an electric light bulb, or whatever. He came to life. And he looked in my eyes and I knew, you know what? We've got to start. But then they told me that he wouldn't make it through the night. And so we were, I was there with him the whole night and he made it through the night. And then they said, well, his pH level, this is not possible because to live, you have, if you're a 7.1, you'd be a vegetable your whole life in the hospital. Well, in the history of medicine, no one ever survived at 6.8. He was 6.8. So his pH level doesn't sustain life, yet he's living. They couldn't understand it. So there was miracle after miracle. And after 5 days of miracle after miracle, a specialist came in, brought us into the conference room and said, sorry, we're going to have to take him off the life support because we don't think a baby should live on the life support their whole life. I agreed with him. I said, you know what? Take him off because I agree with you. He should not have to live on a life support. But we had a different belief. We had a belief that, you know what? With all these miracles, there was a reason behind these. We stood in that truth, and he said, well, he won't be able to swallow. So I went to the nurses. I said, look, here's what we're going to do. We can get one swallow. That's all it is. See, most of us are looking for the big things. We're just looking for the littlest thing. One swallow that's all we're going for. So when they got the one swallow, we all celebrated. Most people might go, well, that's not enough. We said, that's awesome. So I said, the next time we feed him, we're going for 2 swallows. And you know what? Today he's 15 years old.
Give us the fast forward.
And he's not only living, he's thriving. Like the crocodiles of Resma, he's thriving. He's a blessing to us. We learn more from him than we could ever teach him. And at the high school and everything, they did a TV special on him when he was 5 because a producer read the story and said, can we make this into a story for television? And it happened to be his 5th birthday. I thought that's a sign. Absolutely. Tell that story.
And this is the foundation of our show on mentally performing. And I'm going to add one thing, whether it's in the hospital or on the field of combat or in the locker room or any life situation. You've got to be able to perform. You've got to train for that mental performance. And that's the foundation of Be a Beast and having these references to the animals. And people ask the question, all right, what's a crocodile have to do with anything? What's an armadillo have to do with anything? The armadillo, mind mastery equals life mastery. And I can see that deployed exactly. Maybe not in those terms at that time, but now when your wife turned to you and said, hey, he's going to survive.
Yeah, well, and whatever happens, we're strong enough to take it on. And just by that positive energy, there was a whole shift within that room. Now, the doctors didn't quite buy into it as much as the nurses did. That's all we needed to do. We needed to get the energy going. The doctors couldn't understand it, and we're going, fine. I'm not a doctor. I don't understand the medicine part. But the nurses looked at this and said, they took it on, and it's like a team in a locker room. When energy is powerful. Negative energy attracts negative energy. Positive energy attracts positive energy. So our shift, I could feel the shift take place, and I knew in that moment, and especially when Daniel opened his eyes and looked at me just for that moment, I said, game on.
And here's another moment with our alliance with Operation Homefront. And I just want to close the show with this. This Be a Beast program is about recognizing those opportunities in a positive light and having those triggers in force so that you can mentally perform when it's game on in any situation. And Operation Homefront, that's awarding properties to our returning veterans, our wounded warriors. Here's the deal, very quickly, is that they're given the chance to live in these properties for a given period of time. If they meet their obligations, that property, that home, is awarded to them for their services, a thank you gesture. And I think it's right in line with what we're about. Positive things, positive actions, and having that mental performance undergirding anything you do.
And in any situation, we have a choice. Most people don't even think about that. It's just, oh, this happened to me, I got to live with it. No, we have a choice. And this program is taken, as you say, a negative and turned into a very positive to guys who have gone out there, and women, and put their lives on the line for us.
And we're going to continue to showcase these stories, use it as a coaching opportunity to mentally perform at a higher level. This is Be a Beast on Nelson Radio. Reach us direct, 888-888-2136. Click through at extremefocus.com or simply text the word BEAST to 313131. We're going to be showcasing the positive in life and the opportunities that life's challenges present to us here on Be a Beast on Nelson Radio.
Offer extended. Offer not accepted. This is Nelson with Nelson Radio, and you're challenged by today's rush to real estate, all combined with a concern that by the time you find your dream home, higher rates will price you out of the market. I've got the answer. With my Mortgage Market exclusive lock and shop rate guarantee, you can freeze today's low interest rates, shop for your new home, all with a peace of mind that your rate is waiting for you at the finish line. Call or click 888-888-2136 or click through on strongcreditrewards.com.